Good morning. Today, on day 305 of our 365 days of Bible study, we come to the turning point in history, which is the crucifixion. Here we have from St. Mark's Gospel, chapter 15, verses 22 to 39, those amazing moments which have been recalled ever since as the turning point at which our salvation was achieved. I'll turn you around so you can follow what I'm reading to you. They brought him to the place called Golgotha, meaning the place of a skull. They offered him wine, drugged with myrrh, but he turned it down. Then they crucified him and shared his garments among them, casting lots to see who would get what. It was 9 o'clock in the morning when they crucified him. The charge sheet nailed to the cross read, "The King of the Jews." Alongside him they crucified 2 robbers, one on either side. Some passers-by derided him, making faces at him and saying, "Look at you, the one who would destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days. Save yourself and come down from the cross." In the same way, the senior clergy with the scribes were mocking him among themselves. He saved others, but he can't save himself. Let this Messiah, the King of Israel, come down from the cross right now. Then we'll see and believe. The robbers crucified on either side also insulted him. When noon came, it went dark everywhere until 3 in the afternoon. At which point Jesus, with a great voice, cried out, "Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you deserted me?" Some of those standing there heard him and said, "Listen, he's calling for Elijah." One of them ran and filled a sponge with vinegar and put it on a reed. He gave it to Jesus to drink, as he said, "Let's just wait and see if Elijah will come and take him down." Then Jesus let out a great groan as he expired, and the curtain of the temple was torn in 2 from top to bottom. And when the centurion standing opposite him saw in what way he breathed his last, he said, "This man really was a Son of God." So, the Jewish authorities were unable to deal with the Jesus problem, since time was short and their powers were limited. They had few options if they really wanted to be rid of him quickly and permanently. And an accusation of treason against Rome would do nicely, since it carried the death penalty. His trial before the Jews had been a shambles, and his trial before Pilate turned out to be not much better. Once again, Jesus remained largely silent. When asked, "Are you the King of the Jews?" all he said was, "If you say so." The deal Pilate does with the crowd concerning Jesus and Barabbas leaves us confused. This obviously isn't the same crowd that had been listening to Jesus with rapt attention just days before. To add to the confusion, in some really old manuscripts of Matthew's Gospel, Barabbas is called Jesus Barabbas. The crowd were being offered a choice between 2 men with the same name, and the possibilities for mistaken identity were huge. That there were people from the temple stirring up the confused crowd to make sure that the man they wanted dead was condemned must have added to the confusion and to Pontius Pilate's puzzlement at the outcome. Their cry, "Let him be crucified," makes him ask why. He hasn't done anything to deserve it. But condemned he remains, and the soldiers knew what they had to do. They mocked him to make him more easy to handle, and they beat him up to weaken him so that the agony would be shortened. He was so weakened by the assault that he was unable to carry his cross, and a bystander whose children's names were known to the early church was seized and made to carry it for him. We heard in detail what happened next in today's reading, as Mark retells the story of Jesus' execution. It is meant to engage our emotions, and those who try to turn Jesus' cry of dereliction into a timely quotation from Psalm 22 miss the point. Jesus is here at the point of death and feels the total defeat of a man bearing the consequences of the sins of the whole world. All through this gospel, his true nature is hidden, and here it is hidden totally, even from himself. From this point, the words of the chorus in T.S. Eliot's Murder in the Cathedral find their inspiration. As the nights approach to make Thomas Becket a martyr, the chorus says, "Dead upon the tree, my Saviour, let not be in vain thy labour. Help me, Lord, in my last fear. Dust I am, to dust am bending. From the final doom impending, help me, Lord, for death is near." And in the well-known Good Friday hymn, we find these words, "Were the whole world of nature mine, that were an offering far too small. Love so amazing, so divine, demands my soul, my life, my all." Such riches are derived from the desolation and death we see on the cross. Its power is infinite, and now it is ours. But the disciples do not know that on Good Friday, and tomorrow we see how they discover it on that first Easter morning, and I'll see you then.